as well, so.
The only time that it changed, Mayor, it
Last year.
deviated was last year when there wasn't somebody organizing it.
Yep. I just want to make sure that we weren't running that through us again, right? 4 we discussed, that's police requirement, and then 5, cleanup deposit. Would that work if we held on to a check, and if the work gets cleaned up, we rip that check up or return it to you? But if the city has to send staff out to clean up after the festival, then
I think that's
then
fair.
we cash it. And I believe, according to the memo, that's what we've done in the past, so.
Yep.
And I'm sure you guys will have it all cleaned up and ready to go, so.
I'll be out there by myself if no one else will.
You'll get people. And then the funding, Administrator Rich, do you know, has a funding request ever came before city council while you've been here?
Not during my
for
time.
Hoghead Festival? How about you, Councilor Benson?
I think so.
And I know we talked about this a little bit last year because in fear of losing the festival, right? And I don't believe we can use tourism dollars to give to the Hoghead Festival unless it's for advertising, which, have we done that again this year?
So tourism, the way it was set up under the previous tourism director, it was those Hoghead advertising dollars were paid directly to vendors
Right.
on radio ads promoting the,
So is that something that the city could help you out with? Is that more?
The city is already helping us out with, Councilor Benson might speak to this better, with an ad campaign. But yeah, we would also like to request funding as well for, I'm sure probably starting around August 1st, we would like to get radio ads or some kind of a more public advertisement that costs money as well.
And is that something we could entertain as far as advertisement dollars?
yep, that could be tourism dollars.
And I want to give credit where credit's due, but I don't know if the advertising Councilor Benson is doing is going through the city or if it's going through the Proctor Journal, but I believe it's probably your other hat you wear.
Before Sally left, some money was allocated for advertising outside the area,
Okay, so it is through the city that you're running?
some of it.
Okay,
And then the rest will be through the journal.
okay,
And of course, that'll be locally.
yeah. But and I'm one person sitting up here, right, but I wouldn't be opposed to helping out with funding for advertisement, because that's a legitimate expense that we can use.
I'm also
tourism
interested in
dollars.
one of the requests from you, Mayor, and the council, if there's any other city budgets or funding that are available that could be used to cover some of the just general costs of Hoghead, like I listed. You mentioned the tourism fund, but you know, I don't work for City Hall, but I'm sure, like other businesses that I'm involved in, there's several, I mean, sometimes there's several hundred, but several budgets that all can uniquely pay for things in their own way. So I wanted to ask if there's any other budgets that may be able to help for the kids' sporting events or entertainment or.
Go ahead, Councilor. There's a 10% gambling fund that I believe, and Administrator Rich could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that money can be used. Is that what you were going to say, Councilor?
Well, I was going to also say that for the family portion, we fund a 9 or 10 grand worth of fireworks.
Yes.
Which we've traditionally done since I've been on council. I know that's one expense for family related, and it's a pretty big hit if it's a good, nice thing.
Since 1994.
The other thing I know that the police department has done, and I don't want to overspeak, chief, but one of the days we did like movie on the hill or movie on the Fridays. So
And
I know
it's still planned.
we do that for the community and kids and parents. And then it would be a matter of, the only fund that I think we have is
10%.
that 10% gambling allocation.
So I guess my request would be to review the balance of that and see if we could
And
come
I-
up with a specific number, if any possible at all.
Yeah, and I just, and don't take this the wrong way, I appreciate what you guys are doing, and we would like to support you any way we can. I just want to be real careful that if anyone's came to us in the past and we're told no, that we're treating everybody the same. So I would like to get clarification on that. I know since you've been here, there hasn't been a request, but like I said, I'm not opposed to it. I just want to make sure we're treating everybody equally, you know?
I understand that, and like I said, I'd be more than open to showing you exactly the schedule plan, and if funding was available and you wanted to pay specifically to something, you could give a check to our 501c3, and I'll write the check to them and give you a receipt. Another idea I had, and this is just, like I said, I'm not big into the city government world, but just knowing how budgets and funds work, like even if the city could cover the cost of like police officers for security or something, you know, I just thought that might be able to work through its way through some kind of like the police budget or something as like overtime or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas right now.
And that's what I would bring back to public safety. I know
Okay.
there's a meeting coming up, that was discussed at our pre-agenda meeting. Maybe that's something that could be added to that agenda, because it's ultimately gonna come down to that committee to make a recommendation. I know that was a hot button topic in previous years, so, and I know city code does require X amount of officers per X amount of attendees. So, but I would leave that up to the Public Safety Committee to make a recommendation and bring that back to us, which I'm also on, so. So did we answer your questions as far as the insurance certificate, parking lot lease, vendor requirements, and cleanup deposit?
Yes.
So what you're looking for council to look at is funding requests and the police requirement.
Yeah, I guess I'd ask the council to make a motion to see what's in that 10% gambling fund and then see if anything could be available.
Council have anything?
I have just one question. Did you already apply for the 501(c)(3) or,
I have not.
because that, correct me if I'm wrong, but that could take a
It
year
takes-
or two. So we gotta be careful.
The IRS website said about 6 months.
They have streamlined it.
Okay, I just know it used to be a couple of years and an act of Congress.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
reason why I mentioned that is because right now, the Proctor Hoghead is falling under a different 501c3, and the agreement is there's 1 year, one-time use, and that we will pursue our own 501c3 after this year. So with all these costs of Hoghead, I need to make sure that, you know, I have at least like 700 and change, $800 left over to apply for that 501c3. So that's one other thing on my list.
Go ahead.
Would the Irving, that would be another source, would be a request to
Irving Community.
Irving Community. It's, they handle a lot of pull tabs at local establishments. I can't remember, there used to be a gal that was in charge of that.
Carol Resberg.
But that might be another avenue for your group to go to, because she's,
Well,
they,
we do have 5,000 I got for, okay, that's what I referenced tonight from Irving Call.
okay.
We just
And that is
received,
earmarked for all the kids' games that whole entire week.
we just
And if
received,
there's any left, then it'll just stay in the fund going into next year.
yeah, they graciously gave us $5,000, which is a lot compared to other donations we've been getting. We've been getting small donations. And it's specifically for a company called Ninja Anywhere. It's gonna be set up in the museum parking lot Thursday, August 14th. It's a really cool kids attraction, which was, that alone was 4,000, so that donation was awesome, but it's gone.
Things aren't cheap. Parking lot lease, is this parking lot out here?
No, the one that
By the
adjoins with
powerhouse.
the powerhouse,
Okay.
the public lot there.
Okay. Because I did see a map, and I don't know if it was at this meeting or public safety, but were you anticipating using the lot out here?
It is on the permit maps right now, yes.
Okay.
It would be for, the pet parade.
Is that okay? Any other questions for Jared? Counselor Benson?
If that area along Highway 2 that the city owns, have you talked with Proctor Moose? Because I know sometimes they use that to get,
So, I don't know if you've seen the original permit maps submitted, but they've been redone, and, all of the Moose property and stuff is south of the border that will be snow fenced in for all the hoghead events. If they wanted to be a part of it, I have not talked to them yet. We talked about it at our last meeting to get a hold of them, but they haven't been responding, but, I will eventually. And if they wanted to be included, I'm more than happy. Like, this is kind of the new hoghead where we have events all throughout the week focused on the public and kids and family events. And then, what we're talking about leasing that public parking lot over there is specifically for the street dances. And the Saturday after the parade, we're gonna have, some more kids events and family events in that area. It would just give us more room to push the band stage onto that lot, so we have room for the kids and family stuff in the Powerhouse lot and the VFW lot.
You've been working with Powerhouse on that?
Yes.
How about, and I know you made mention regarding the parade route. Have you been dealing with Administrator Rich or Chief Gator?
I talked to Jessica today, and she's been talking to the chief of police,
Okay,
and then I will be attending the next, safety meeting, so
okay,
I'm sure we're gonna hash it out then.
cool. Any other questions? Hearing none? Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so City Council, you heard the request from Jared. I think as far as number 4, police requirement, like I said earlier, I think that goes back to public safety for discussion. And see what they have to say on as far as that goes. I know Kent has a matrix of, or I'm sorry, Chief Gatus has a matrix of what is required and what's not, so maybe we could have some discussion at one of those meetings. And then as far as funding, I'll go ahead and make a motion for Administrator Rich to bring back to council at maybe the next meeting, the balance for the 10% gambling fund. And if it's, and maybe you know this, it can legitimately be used for that, a donation to a festival.
I have that now if you want it.
Oh, you do? What is that?
So the balance, we report this annually. The 2024 balance was $66,855.51. We do have some designations that we annually give, and again, that money comes from Irving Community Center, Duluth Softball Association, and the Proctor Area Hockey Associations in their pull tab gamblings. We have been receiving about $17,000 a year and spending 14. It was closer to 15. And we can give to a 501c3 organization.
Okay. So I think at this time, we can't make a funding donation until you get that aspect taken care of. Would you mind revisiting
Which aspect?
the 501c3? When you get,
That's taken care of.
oh, you already got it
No, we're the fiscal host, the Historical Society.
for this year?
For this year.
Okay, next year is what you're working on? Okay.
But you can
But it will-
pass it through them, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
through the historical.
Right, yeah.
Any donations
Yeah.
will stay in the Hoghead account though, and that'll be the Hoghead account moving forward.
Okay,
So we have an account set up at the Proctor Bank, savings account, I'm running the second checking account, which is usually set for the grants. We all sign all the papers, so you can go up to there and see how it's all set up with Todd, legitimately, and then, like, the 5,000 per Irving, it says specifically on there, designated for Hoghead only, not anything associated with that, so I'm keeping that all separate, sharing it with their group, and also sharing it with the Historic Society, so you can see that it all is, there's no coming together, merging of any of those funds
Okay.
are separated.
okay. And Jess, you said that total was what, 66 and some? Okay. Well, you heard the balance for the 10% gambling fund. What's council's thoughts of giving any funding request to the Hoghead Festival? And Councilor Benson?
Because it's the 50th anniversary celebrating our railroad heritage, I think it's, if we do it cautiously, certainly don't want to open it up to others as long as there's a, that community connection. And also, I just want to make sure that all the other downtown businesses are involved, like the Proctor Moose Lodge, which is a family fraternity, and I hate to see them excluded.
Go ahead, Councilor.
I would mimic, I would tread cautiously. I would be okay as long as it is community orientated, kids, adults, something that involves everyone. I'm almost wondering if it would be, you either set a dollar amount or they have a plan, which I haven't seen yet, but they have a plan for the weekly, here's what's going on this night. It used to be the scramble on Monday and this on Tuesday, pep parade on Wednesday, whatever. I just want to make sure that it gets earmarked for that and it's not earmarked for other events, which would be nighttime events, because I don't think we'd be very transparent with the way we've handled it in the past. But if we kept the community.
Administrator Rich, I just thought to, was it last meeting agenda, did we designate funds for a project from the 10% already? Was
To
it
Historical
trails
Society.
or something? What's that?
You did recently to the Historical Society is where that came from.
Or we did trails with sales tax, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't something hanging out there that we'd already committed to, so. And I agree with both Councilor Benson and Councilor DeWall. I think if we make a donation, we do it cautiously, as you said. And I like Councilor DeWall's idea of earmarking it to a specific event or thing. Because we got $9,000 already tied up in fireworks for the event. I know our police will be busy doing the movie on the hill, parade traffic, that's all comes out of police budget already. So I mean, and the street department will, I'm sure, make commitment to help with the road barricades and stuff as they've done in the past. So the city's already into it for quite a bit. So I think if we did make a donation, we did it cautiously as well.
And I look at it from the perspective that back in 1994, when the city was celebrating its 100th anniversary, that was going to be a one-time event, and it's been with us ever since.
Would it be appropriate for me to share the tentative tentative schedule so you can hear what type of events?
Sure, yeah. I think council would like to know that.
So right now, the tentative schedule is we'll actually be kicking Hoghead off a little early because Saturday, August 9th, is Historical Society is having a play. And we're going to advertise for that. Monday, August 11th.
That got canceled because nobody stepped forward.
Scratch that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Monday,
We
August.
do something, but not that.
Monday, August 11th from 4 to 9, we've reserved the high school gym and field house for a volleyball basketball tournament. The basketball tournament's pending the gym floor being refinished in time. Tuesday, August 12th, I'm excited about all along Pionk Drive here. We reserved Agardal from 3 to 6 or 7 whenever the high school boys football practice starts for youth flag football. Hopefully on the turf side, on the diamond, on the baseball diamond, there's going to be a beanbag tournament. Both softball fields are reserved. For one field to be kind of like adults softball games, like 15 plus, you know, like athletically able people. And the other field, I'm working with some Proctor coaches and stuff to get youth softball, baseball programs mixed with JV varsity for some wiffle ball games, and then hopefully a boys baseball versus girls softball wiffle ball game on the other field. During that time, we've also reserved the playground down at the end of Pionk. We're going to have an acoustic band there, which is $500, and some food vendors as well. So that Tuesday night should be really cool, kind of like a national night out kind of feel to it, just really celebrate the community. Wednesday, August 13th is kind of between the VFW and with their bingo and the Powerhouse with the car show, so I'm not requesting funding for that, or I don't need any funding for that, that's their deal. August 14th is the second night of the volleyball basketball tournament. With that, we're looking for, same with the Tuesday night, anything sports related, we're looking for kids prizes, or the volleyball tournament will be more of an intermediate level, so there is an entry fee there, but anything that, you know, like if we receive a donation, I could use the entry fees to roll over to next year's Hoghead, or for the costs of moving forward, where I could push donated costs right to like prizes and stuff like that for those, and they don't have to be cash. I'm looking, I even asked Walmart, Costco, Fleet Farm, Sam's Club for like gift cards and stuff like that for that sort of thing, but I haven't heard back. Thursday is also, and this is all pending permitting and stuff, but Thursday we're gonna do the Ninja Anywhere event, which is a tractor trailer truck that opens up, and it's basically a ninja obstacle course for kids all the way up to adults, I believe. And we want to park that in the museum lot, have a museum open house. They got a really cool model train set downstairs. We're hoping to get the kids through and to see that. Hoping to use this parking lot out back for the pet parade, and then hoping to shut down just a little bit of Pionk Drive here and have food vendors and stuff outside. Friday, Proctor First National Bank wants to do breakfast for the public. Friday night will be street dance and food vendors, movie on the course put on by the police department, and the golf clubhouse will be open. And Saturday, August 16th, City Hall pancake breakfast. We're gonna have vendors, arts and crafts vendors available 11 to 6, food vendors 11 to 11 p.m. Parades at noon, golf tournament, kids activities, street vendors, food vendors, said that. Hill of Five, some of those kids activities include, I just found out about a local person that does a petting zoo. I have a bouncy house reserved, and everybody freaks out about bouncy house with insurance, but they're bringing their own employees and they're covering it under their own insurance. The Hill of 5K will be that day. There's a football jamboree event I'm sure you all are aware of that brought in, I heard, thousands of people last year. They asked to be on the Hoghead advertising as part of Hoghead. We said absolutely. city's putting on fireworks Saturday, street dance, and we're also working the possibility of a hockey tournament that day. And then Sunday will be the cleanup. So those are just some of the things that we're doing that all have cost to them. A lot of that stuff can be done with just volunteer hours, and it's free to do on those sporting events, but adding prizes and trophies and stuff like that could make it a whole lot cooler. So, and then all the hidden stuff, the logistics, the sanitation, all of that is, I'm hoping for iffy donations, but fingers crossed. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Well, you heard the list of activities that are planned. Is there a motion to do a funding request for the Hoghead Festival? I know people are open to it.
I'll move.
Councilor Benson made the motion.
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. What's the value, and are we earmarking it for anything? Couple things that caught my attention. There's that band at the Playground for Everybody on Thursday night, I think he said. Tuesday night. Or there's kids' activities on Saturday. I don't know what that consists of, but I'm sure put kids' activities on is going to take some sort of financial backing, so.
Where is the kids' activity going to take place on Saturday?
Did you say where?
Yeah.
Right now I have Bouncy House Company reserved, and that would be east side of VFW in their
Okay.
parking lot.
So downtown
I have a
area.
balloon artist reserved, and that would be in the public lot or the powerhouse lot. I don't really know where the line is there. The committee's already talked about a petting zoo that Cookie Kari has hired in the past, but just before the meeting I received a business card of one I'd probably be more interested in, so I haven't even had a chance to contact them with the cost or anything. And then I'm just looking for more kids types events as well, anything.
Do you have, excuse me, Mr. Mayor, do you have any projections on cost for that playground band?
$475, I think the charge is. I'd also like the same type of band, which being just an acoustic type band and stuff like that, it'd probably be around the same cost for the Thursday night event here next to the City Hall and the museum. It's a long process. Right now, like I said, my insurance certificate should be in this week, and permitting hasn't been approved, but I just have to keep driving forward and as if it's going to be approved. So otherwise, you just can't reserve bands and stuff like that.
Make it.
I feel like everyone's afraid to throw out a number.
No, I was just gonna say,
Throw out a
make a $1,000 donation and pay for the 2 acoustic bands that he wants to have, one Tuesday night, one Thursday night. Both of them, it sounds like, are gonna be on city property. And whatever's left over from that, put it towards kids' activities, if there's anything left over from that. Unless council feels that's not enough or too much.
Is that the number you were thinking of?
But did you say 1,000? I mean, I'm here to get as much as we can, honestly. Like I said, even if you earmarked it for something specific and we couldn't fill that this year, it would just roll over to the next year and the next year and the next year. I hear you have 66,000, you're on average gaining 17 years, spending 15, so you're gaining 3 a year with never going below. I understand the mayor's concerns with previous businesses and stuff like that. I mean, I would really like to get some cool prizes for
And I'm just,
different sporting events.
I'm just going off of what our recent donations have been, and everything's 150. The biggest donation we've used is 153.90.
I also
Besides the food shelf remodel.
I also think the mayor's point to I mean, how about this idea? I would even earmark some of that money. If your donation could be, you know, $5,000-$10,000, I would earmark a lot of that money right back to the police department for security, moving barriers, setting up barriers, stuff like that. Kind of a way to lessen the burden on the police department's budget. Because technically that is Hoghead. It's a responsibility of the police department and the city are nice enough to do that for us. The main one I'd be concerned about is security.
Right, and I know that was one of the reasons why the previous committee for Hoghead isn't doing it anymore, because security was so expensive. I know Chief Gatus worked numbers with them in the past to bring that cost down a little bit, but I just caution council on that as far as what we've done for others in the past, again, and what we're looking at doing now, because that was one of the heartburns with the previous committee. So I'm just trying to be transparent.
Mr. Mayor, I would not be for that. And I know you're new to this, you're trying to get everything you possibly can. What about the pancake breakfast? That used to be the Lions event, and that was a major fundraiser
For a soccer team.
Community ed.
for community ed.
Community ed, now it's soccer team.
And obviously, there's some expenses to that. And we're having it at City Hall, like we traditionally have. So I wouldn't be opposed to, if it's $1,000 and you can't get the bands to work at the playground or the museum, to putting that money towards that pancake breakfast, which is going to help produce future revenue for future years. Assuming that, is part of that going to go to the Hoghead, or is that going to go towards community?
Not us.
I think it goes to the soccer team.
Soccer
now.
team does it.
Okay, so that's, trying to catch something that catches
Yeah.
everyone a little bit.
Yeah, so this might be along the lines that you're talking of. Like another issue I'm running into is just fighting volunteers and stuff like that. So for example, this volleyball tournament that we're advertising for, I haven't received a reply yet. Just the other day I emailed the girls' high school volleyball coach, where right now we have it advertised as $100 a team, 10 teams. First place gets 500, second place gets 300, I think, third place gets 100, and so there's 200 left over. Well, because I'm having such an issue just trying to facilitate this stuff, I told the girls' head volleyball coach, like, you can have that 200 for your team if you just facilitate this. So right now I'm at the point where I'm just trying to get these events to happen and get the community engaged, and I'm not necessarily trying to raise a lot of money for Hoghead because I want these events to happen, and that's why any funding, like even covering those bands would just be awesome, because that just frees up more dollars for the Hoghead fund to roll over into next year.
And that was just a recommendation. If council wants to do something different, speak up. So I know Councilor Benson made a motion, Councilor Johnson seconded it. What was the motion in the second? Just to approve funding, but there was no dollar amount set on it, so.
Just to get the discussion rolling.
Discussion's here.
One quick question. You had already given it, can you pull that up again? I don't have it in front of me, but
She
we
sent
were
it
at
to
about
you.
15,000 for the year, or 15.5 or something, and we normally do 17.
Last, so
14.8.
the report ended on 12/31/2024. Excuse me, I'll find it.
14.8, but like,
In 2024, you took in 17,500 and you spent out 14,800.
that's the majority of it right there.
And Mayor, your question about the last donation that was approved, it was approved for the Proctor food shelf remodel, which is an allowable expense under 10%.
But that's on here, right?
That was on the 2024.
And I misspoke earlier because I saw that Dolly Parton now for $325. So that minus the food shelf, $325 was our biggest. Then that's where we brought money in. They must came in at, these two came in at the end of the year. So that will grow, I'm assuming.
After reviewing that, I'd be okay with the recommendation of mayor to add to those who already did a first and second for up to $1,000 for the playground band and possibly acoustical band at the museum. If that's his recommendation.
That was my recommendation, but to the motion in the second.
So,
If
yeah.
if it's all right with the second, then it's all right with me.
First, so $1,000.
Yeah, you heard the motion in the second, and the recommendation. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Thanks,
Thank you,
Jared.
Mayor, City Council.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Benson.
I was going to recommend the boys volleyball tournament because that's going to be a brand-new Minnesota State High School League event. And I'm sure they're trying to build interest, but if I mentioned it, I might end up having to run it, so I'm,
All right.
Sincerely, thank you
Thank you both.
for everything. And you just put the check when you get to the mailbox with stipulations in there for the earmarking.
Yep.
So that it's all coded properly, so we do it right.
Can do that. Thank you. Yes. All right, that'll bring us to 6D, Mayor's Memo, Council Pay. So as you recall, at our last council meeting, there was discussion on the attendance of city councilors in the city code. A member of city council may be excused from attendance of up to 4 regularly scheduled meetings for reasons of illness, absence from the community, for additional absences from regularly scheduled city council meetings. The compensation provided herein shall be reduced by an amount set by city council from time to time. At last meeting, we asked Administrator Rich to reach out to the legal to see what he thought shall means. She did email city council saying that legal determined shall means we must. So I put together this memo to adopt a policy reflecting city council attendance. You would still have the city code that reflects you can miss up to 4 regularly scheduled meetings. But then if we go over that 4, you can see what I got typed out there. A member of city council may be excused from attendance up to 4 regularly scheduled city council meetings annually. For additional absences from the regularly scheduled city council meetings, the compensation provided herein will be reduced by the amount set below. So personal medical reasons, no reduction for if less than 6 months. If longer than 6 months, shall be reduced by $25 per meeting. Vacations, reduced by $50 per meeting after the 4th. Outside business reasons other than city business, $50 per meeting. And unexcused or unapproved leaves would be the full monthly amount after year 4. So I'm just looking to have a discussion with council to see if we'd like to adopt a policy that reflects this. As Administrator Rich stated, policies are easier to change than city codes. City codes, you gotta do first reading, second reading. It takes about a month or month and a half to adopt that change, where policy can be changed time to time by city council. So makes sense to adopt a policy to reflect what we want to do with council pay for missing more than 4 meetings, but I'll leave that up for discussion with council. Councilor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not to go over everything that I went over during the pre-agenda, but I would also like to add, and we have personal medical reasons. I would also like to have religious reasons as well in there. Not that there has been a problem or situation, but just looking at the future.
Yeah, and I'll defer to the city attorney with separation of church and state. Is that something we want to put into a policy? I mean, we already have 4, we can miss up to 4 meetings a year already.
Yeah, that's something I'd have to consider. Not really ready to give an answer tonight as to whether we could use the word religion in the policy or not.
Okay. Councilor Dwell.
I'd like to have 1.5 carryover for previous years.
Yes, thank you.
So for example, having not missed a meeting in 9 years, that would give me 36.
You don't even have 36 meetings in a year, but
Well, but there's 9 years. So actually it'd be 1.5, so it would only be 6 max carryover.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
no, and I'm guilty. I know my first year I missed, I think, 3 meetings. My second year I missed 2 or 3 meetings for work related, but I put work things in there, you get reduced. If you miss more than 4, you get reduced for non-city business related reasons. So I guess I wasn't trying to benefit myself. I was just looking for
Everyone else was, so I figured why not. No, it was just to clean up so
Yeah.
that we had something in play. I'm more than comfortable with what's presented. And it leaves some wiggle room for, right now, at least medical situations. It also does leave some wiggle room for other situations, because it's a policy. And if we have to review it, it's a working document. I just felt like we didn't have anything there.
well, and my whole, I guess, thought process was you can't help medical issues, right? They spring up and they happen. And I'll pick on Councilor Johnson, I guess. He's been absent because of a medical reason, but he's been chomping at the bit to get back in that seat, and we welcome him back tonight. But by no fault of his own did he miss. I mean, he wanted to be here, and he kept calling and trying to stay in the loop. And I mean, he wasn't trying. And I know Councilor Benson said at the last meeting that this city code was put in because of a city councilor in the past, a while ago, just didn't show up. Showed up when payday came, and that's when that council person showed up. So that's why this was enacted, and I guess I have a soft spot if it's a medical, and why kick a person while they're already down? So that was my whole thought process. But
Well, obviously, this has been brought up because of my situation, and I wish this upon nobody with that, but I've been in contact with Jess and Megan and the mayor, obviously, on this stuff. And this is an experiment right now, me being here. Can I handle it? My therapists tell me the less stress on my brain, the better off I am. And in 2 weeks, I have my next scan to find out what's going on up there, to see if it's going to work out. And then I meet with the doctor 2 days after that for the next, if there is a next step. And I do have a schedule down at the Mayo Clinic if I need to. You know, but that's the way it is right now. So unfortunately, that's the way it's happening, and I was in the hospital for 45 days, and it wasn't fun. So,
Couldn't imagine.
yeah, sorry for bringing this up.
Nope,
not at all.
it's good. I think it needed to be addressed because I don't like the way the city code reads it right now, so. And I guess I'll defer to Attorney Hanka, but if we adopted a policy such as what I presented tonight, that would meet the qualifications of shall.
I think so, Mr. Mayor, yep.
So I will go back to Counselor Benson then. Did you want Attorney Hanka to look into your religious days?
Yes, I think it would be an interesting finding, and I have my opinions based on what happens in other school districts, cities, states, so
Is that something you could look into for next meeting?
Absolutely.
Can you help Attorney Hanka with those findings? So he has, with
I'm
your,
sorry?
can you help Attorney Hanka with your research?
Oh,
So
sure.
this- Okay.
yes.
So what I'm hearing then, I'll make a motion to table this, put it under unfinished business until Attorney Hanka reports back with questions for Counselor Benson.
Since it is a policy, we could always add it in if you wanted to adopt it this evening.
That makes sense.
It's a moving
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a,
document.
Yeah.
It's going to be tweaked over the next 5 years, maybe. It puts us in a better position. It's unfortunate that a circumstance has to come up to create a change, but trying to look at the positive end of it so that we are doing the right thing for something that's uncontrollable. I mean, that was the intent. So I agree 100% with the mayor.
okay, well, I'll table, I'll X-nay my motion that I was going to make.
Oh.
Did you have something more to add, Counselor?
No, I just thought again that if we pass the policy this evening, we don't have to go through the entire thing a second time, just that one item.
I like it. So I'll go ahead, I don't want to make the motion, it's my memo. So we'll entertain a motion to adopt the policy presented in front of you with the compensation for city councilors on their attendance policy.
So moved.
Counselor DeWall made the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Counselor Benson, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to members' concerns. Counselor DeWalt.
Just following up with wage equity study, I'm wondering, I know it seemed like a while ago we approved it. It was kind of anticipating that we'd see something at the end of May, first part of June, maybe middle of June. Now it's July. Just wondering if we could have an update on that next meeting, where that's at.
I can give one now, it's helpful. The delay has been in the peer cities responding to the, it started out with the voluntarily participate in sharing their data into the peers that we chose. And now, since we haven't gotten a response from two, we're going to have to do a public data request with them. So that's where the delay has been in.
And you may not know this, but why would a city refuse to participate in something like that?
It may not be that they refuse, maybe staffing, maybe,
Just don't have time to gather the
yeah.
info?
Yeah, and it was voluntarily asked, whereas
Sure.
you put it under a data request, then
Sure.
then there's a time, it's a requirement.
Thank you.
I thought the purpose of using them was that they had this library, if you will, already existing. of similar cities, whatever. Or am I wrong in that?
Yeah, I don't recall. I know they've had experience in doing these, because I think on the packet they gave us, they listed a bunch of cities that they've done it for. But I don't know if they had, because I'm sure the criteria changes. If they're doing, and I'm just gonna use our neighbors, if they're using Hermantown or Duluth, the criteria for the other cities may be different than what ours would be. Is my guess. I don't recall them having a library of info.
Yeah, and if they were to have data on another city, they still have to ask to update it because of contract negotiation changes that may have changed from one wage study to another. And then also, when they do a wage study with a particular community, the employees and the employer drive the choosing of the peer cities. So if Baker Tilly hadn't used a particular peer city in the past, then they have to get that updated data based on what we chose.
Do they have a time frame on data requests, or what, 10 days?
It's 10 days from when we request it.
Okay. Anything else, Counselor? Thank you. Counselor Johnson?
You know, being gone for a long time, it's nice that the big secret is out. I think anyways. And the response I hear from the community is that the fireworks that went on the other night at the fairgrounds was great. So that was kind of cool. And I welcome myself back. Thank you.
It feels good hearing your voice again, Counselor. Counselor Benson?
Thank you, and I welcome Councilor Johnson back as well. It's nice to have almost a full complement again. I also echo his comment about the fair. Great fair Thursday night. From what I hear, they had a record-setting evening. Certainly, they're already planning for next year. And yep, the fireworks were spectacular, and they only spent $6,000.
Oh, really?
And there were cheers from the people in the grandstand, so I suspect our fireworks will be also spectacular.
Same company, right?
Yep. And I just wanted to say that the Fair Board members really deserve a blue ribbon for what they put on. Outstanding.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll echo that, Counselor Benson. It was nice, and I could watch them right from my deck, so that was really nice. But I got a couple things tonight. The Men of Act will be hosting their annual free community picnic to support the Proctor Food Shelf on Thursday, July 17th from 4:30 to 6 at St. Rose. The Proctor PD and Fire Department will also be on hand, so another community event you guys will be participating in, so thank you. And then the second phase of Highway 2 culvert project started today. MnDOT has detoured traffic for Highway 2 up 2nd Avenue, Levake Road, and into Hermantown. So expect to see more traffic on 2nd Avenue and Levake. I did notice the PD placed the speed limit sign that they got out there. And if you noticed, Highway 2 now has a 4-way stop where one used to never be. So be careful out there. That is all I had. Administrator Rich? Nothing. Attorney Hanka?
Nothing from legal. Thank you.
Chief Gatus, it's your turn. Oh, can I go one more time? To Councilor Johnson's point on the big project that was announced at the public hearing last week, I think it was. Monday, July 14th from 4 to 6 right here at the community center. There will be an open house with the NGP Development LLC and the Proctor Economic Development Authority. So anyone interested to ask questions or see pictures or meet the developers, Monday, July 14th from 4 to 6. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Perfectly fine. For Mayor and Councilor Dewell, we're going to have that public safety meeting about Hawkhead. I want to do that probably next week. If you guys could look at your schedules, put a couple dates out to you guys first and make sure that you guys
Can look right after this meeting.
I'll be quick. I just want to comment on the First Street closure. Is that Mr. Twomey brought up that it's going to be difficult for the police and stuff like that to get there. Depending what the call is, like it's a crime of violence, if it is a call up on First Street, there's no way I'm going up the hill that way. That's going through the fatal funnel. You're not going to go up there because you can't see what the heck is going on. You're going to go around the other way anyway. So that kind of argument, depends on what the call is, how we respond to it. Just want to comment quick about that. Just things that we've been doing. Obviously, we worked the fair this weekend. Sergeant Rebel's there, Jess was there, and then I was there working it. We brought our new Lucas machine there to show it, and then people are asking what it was, and they're very happy that we didn't pay $20,000 for it, that we got it on the grant. And actually, one of the engineers that wrote the code for that machine stopped by the booth and was talking to us. So that was kind of interesting that it was there, and somebody actually was on the ground floor working on it. Just some other events that we worked. It was the MS-150. That went very well with the road closures. And Sergeant Rebo and I and a couple other officers worked that. Grandma's worked that also with the sergeant and Officer Waring. That went very well, and we had more cars than we ever had so far.
How was the parking up there for that event?
For the grandmas. So when the main parking lot got full, they had an overflow sign there for them, and we would direct them down Peon Drive to park down. So we just sat there. We had cones up and everything else. We just directed them down. So that worked out. Lastly, is National Night Out. We just got confirmation. Yes, the helicopter is coming. So yes, we have to have our National Night Out down here because we can't land it in the Moose parking lot.
Where is that going to be landing? On the golf course?
Golf course.
Okay.
Like we did about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
I've heard of that, but it seems like 4 or 5 years ago it was probably,
Probably.
but it was right on the fairway.
Yeah, I remember. Luke
That's all I
Fontaine
have.
was there. That's it?
Finally, Matt's truck is done too.
Nice.
I was going to bring that up because I was just looking in the bills. And I thought I saw the Chev truck. That's done.
Well, yes, we brought that up to the fair for the display, but as usual, and everything is new, and you put things in there, some things don't work. So Sergeant Reel's been working on that to get these little things fixed up, so it works. The only thing left really major to get on there is running boards because it's so high.
I think the sewer truck was in need of those too.
Yeah, I forgot to mention
Or
it,
sign truck, whatever
but
you want to call
that's
it.
an impressive setup too.
That's
Cool.
all I got.
Thank you.
Yep.
And thank you both for coming. Did anyone have anything for the chief? No? All right. That being said, we'll entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $236,300.76. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Counselor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Counselor DeWall made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you.